Welcome to the OAPN podcast with your host, Adarsh Sakare. No bullshit, no cuts. 100% raw conversations with 0% fucks to give. We don't encourage the consumption of alcohol, but if you want to open up a cold one while you watch this, it's not a bad idea.
Welcome to episode number 49 of On a Personal Note with Adarsh Sakare. We are one episode away from the half century. It's been quite a journey. We're going to be speaking about the first 50 episodes and how it's been on the next one. So I hope you all turn up for that as well. It's been quite a journey. That being said, let's get into episode number 49. Today we are venturing into a whole other space. We haven't had anyone from this space here before. And every time that happens, we are very happy because it's fresh content. It's new perspectives all through. And I think we have found the right person to kind of get into this space. Before we talk more about the person, let's say hi to Advocate Joshiba Dev.
Hi, Namaskara Sakare.
Namaskara. Joshiba, thank you. First of all, I know you made a long journey to the studio. Thank you for making the journey. And like I said, from the time Aditya and me saw your content, we really felt it was a very fresh perspective towards law. And it's beautiful because the first thing I told you, right, like when we think about law, it's boring. Like,
right.
It's raw. There's nothing exciting about it. I don't know about y'all, but for me, it was always like that. And then I saw your content and I said, wow, what a way to make this interesting, right? In 30 seconds, in 60 seconds, you're able to get awareness to people. And that was something great. So a little introduction. So Joshiba as an advocate, one of the, better things she's doing today is she's using social media to bring in awareness of the law to the common man. And not just awareness, a lot of help. Like there are a lot of questions that you might have on a day-to-day basis, situations that you get into on a day-to-day basis and you might not know how to handle it until you get into them. So I would definitely suggest you check out her page. We'll leave the link in the description. Check out her page even before you watch this episode, because then you'll know what exactly I'm talking about. And it's also ease of access. So the way I see it is like over the years, as she's producing more content, anyone who just goes through her profile, within a span of half an hour will know 10 new things that they probably didn't know before. And I like her boldness. I think you have this boldness in terms of approaching topics that maybe people aren't. And I'm excited to see what else that boldness is going to get out of Joshiba. So welcome to this episode. We're going to try and figure out how did Joshiba land up in this whole journey, what inspired her to do what she's doing, and also help you folks who are listening to this episode. So stay tuned. Mostly in like the second half of this episode, we're going to get into some of those things that you can take away that'll help you in your day-to-day life. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So welcome to this episode. So Joshiba,
Let's get rolling.
Let's get rolling. Okay, so first question. How did law happen to Joshiba? Where was the first spark to get into law?
Okay. So I'm going to ask you a very simple question, Adarsh.
This is not how it works. I just asked you a question.
Yes, I'm going to question you back with that question. Okay, so
yes, ma'am, please.
When you started growing up and people
Okay.
approached you asking what do you want to become,
Okay.
what would you say?
I used to say I want to be an actor.
Right.
Maybe that dream is there somewhere even now.
Oh.
But I used to say that because maybe I had this sense of wanting to be in front of people. And
Okay.
and it has transformed into being a podcast today.
Okay.
So yeah, that
So
is what I
you
used to.
wanted to be an actor as you
Yeah,
grew
I wanted
up,
to
right?
perform. I wanted to be in front of people, maybe entertain them, talk to them.
Theater as well?
Yeah, theater. Started with theater ideally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, I mean, you give out that impression.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
surprisingly.
So,
So, yeah, when you grew up, when people kept asking you, you said you wanted to be an actor. You had an answer to it.
yeah.
But when I was young, and say as young as even being in 10th standard, when people asked me, I would say I am not sure what I want to become,
Okay.
but I'm pretty much sure what I do want to become, and that's an advocate. So,
Okay.
yeah,
This is an interesting start.
Right. I always, because coming from a family of advocates, I see how stressful my grandfather was, how stressful
Oh, even your grandfather was an advocate.
Right, I'm
Okay.
a 3G.
Okay.
So I saw how stressful my grandfather was living his life. I saw how stressful my father is living his life. And I'm more of a laid back person. Given any day, I would just like to sip on some mocktail on the beach and just enjoy the sunlight and the sea waves. But then, I don't know, it was like a universe calling because it just laid out. The process was just as it just happened that I felt like I was subconsciously living through those years.
Okay.
And then I'm very happy at the end, though, of course, how everything has turned out to be, because it is very stressful. The profession is very stressful, and that was one of the main reasons I didn't want to be an advocate. But then somewhere down the line, my father walked up to me and said, I'm surprised that you have chosen this. And but he said something that kind of gave me a push in the industry. He said that professions as such run in blood. Okay, say pottery, goldsmith. It's a profession that goes in blood. It's passed from generation to generation. You have almost 40-50 years of, experience running in your blood, coming from my father, from me, and to you. Hence, do not be afraid of the kind of tasks that you might come across. Be very natural at it because you are born an advocate. And that kind of initial thing of,
I'm getting goosebumps listening.
Yeah.
to that.
That initial thing of, I already have it in me. I don't have to go through books. And it's very true, Adarsh, because when someone comes up to me and asks me something, I just apply my logical sense into it, and actually it ends up that there is a specific law as such, and I truly believe it that I have it running in my blood now, and that has got me very confident, and that has pushed me to go on social media as well, because when you're on social media you get tackled with different situations. One incident can bring out different scenarios, right? Murdering can be of different ways, and there are different laws that are applicable, and that's something that's given me the push, and that's what's got me here today.
Do you have siblings?
Yes, I have a brother who's a guitarist.
Okay. So what happened to his blood?
He sacrificed it long ago.
What,
He
didn't
cut
your
his
father?
left hand and sacrificed it
Oh
long
my
ago.
God!
No, I'm
Didn't-
kidding.
Didn't your father tell him the same dialogue, or was he like, okay, let him continue in his ways?
He was quite he's a very planned out person, I would say. He already knew what he wanted to be and how things should fall in place, but I'm more of like go with the flow.
Younger to you, older to you?
Oh, he's 14 years elder to me.
14 years.
14 years elder to me. Yes.
Okay. So at any point, did they ask him to, study law, pursue being a lawyer?
No, see, my father kept us away from this profession. Like I said, it is
Consciously.
very stressful. Yes, it's very stressful, and he wanted us, whatever you don't get, he wanted children to have. So he wanted us to have a very peaceful, laid back life, and he was quite surprised when I did my admission for law school. He was like, he didn't ask me if this is what you really want, but he didn't give me a push that time, neither did he say anything. Only once when I passed out, he had a very small talk, and he always has small talks, because he's speaking throughout the day, so he wants some sort of silence whenever he's at home.
So, so there was this background of law in the family, like you
Correct.
mentioned,
Correct.
and he put in this conscious effort to ensure that he doesn't force anything on you.
Right.
And you mentioned you didn't know what you want to be, but you knew for a fact that you do not want to be an advocate. What are the other talents that Joshiba was known for during school, or say, for example, other professions that Joshiba considered that maybe, what were those?
I was more towards inclined to being a journalist. I
Oh
always
yeah,
wanted to
you
be
have that journalist. She has
Yeah.
that journalist vibe. No, actually, now that I think of it,
Okay.
oh shit, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, what happened though?
So that was something that I wanted to, take up because I liked being around people and I liked talking in front of the camera. Not that I was very comfortable initially itself. I was very hesitant. If you see my profile, you've seen me grow from shy to bold and now to extreme. Like, I don't give a damn anymore.
Wow.
So, I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to travel places. I wanted to meet influential people because I was in that state of mind. I was more like wanting to talk to people than reading books because I wanted to gain knowledge. And I thought maybe talking to people would give me more knowledge than reading books. But now my profession has made it otherwise. I'm more into reading books now than talking to people. And yeah, I know I would have excelled in that profession as well, journalism. But
100%.
yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you,
100%.
Adarsh.
I'm just imagining like this politician who's just screwed up, and there's this press conference, and you're sitting in the first row, and you will not give him a chance.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it would have worked.
It would have worked. I might have been a very controversial journalist as well.
Yeah.
Shooting out all the wrong answers that I should be, all the wrong questions that I should be.
So that's something you let go at some point.
Like there was recently a very close friend of mine said this. He said, the universe does not know the answer no. So be careful of what you say no to because the universe doesn't know. There is a no for the universe. So when I kept saying no to advocate, no to advocacy, no to lawyer, seems like that no just turned out to be a big yes.
Universe gets psyched.
Yeah.
Why are you saying no?
Yeah. So
and then it ensures.
that happens to you. So I've seen that in life actually. Whenever I said no to few things, that has just miraculously, surprisingly just happened. And it's happened in a positive way. Not that I regret it. And yeah, that's one thing I would like to tell everyone. The universe does not know the word no.
Wow.
Be careful of
So are you studying? Did you finish studying? When did you finish studying? What's the scene? When did you start working?
Right.
Just trying to understand what the scene is.
So I did my degree in BCom. So this is a double degree that I did. So after 3 years, I took a year break, trying to figure out because I was not very much happy with the corporate life, Adarsh, because I wouldn't dislike or say anything negative towards it. But I remember walking down, going for an interview and sitting there amongst, the 100 people who are wanting to get into a company. And I went through the interview, I got selected as well, but I saw the cabins and how people were working the cubicles. And I'm more of a very nature person. I always tell my mom that, if you put me in the forest, I'm more calm than putting me in a room. Because I feel our ancestors spent thousands of years outside. We have just recently living in buildings, so it's in our blood. I would always relate to anything that's in our blood. Now, why do we find so difficult to stand in front of a camera and record? Because we are not used to it. Maybe generation, say 50 years from now, that generation might, effortlessly stand and talk in front of the camera, but not us. But if you put us in a forest or an open space, we are more calm. We hardly feel the stress. I sometimes, Lal Bagh is very close to the High Court. I just go sit in with my laptop and I open up and I start learning about the case. And I find it more peaceful to learn it there than in the High Court library itself.
I think it's there. And the first thing that came to my mind when you said that was that's why people love traveling.
Correct.
People love going towards the north because it's calling them. They say the
Yes.
mountains are calling.
Yes.
Why are the mountains calling? Because
Yeah.
it's there in your blood.
It's
Somewhere
there in
you
your
want to be
blood.
amongst nature.
Yeah.
And staying in the city might suffocate you. It's
Correct.
become a habit, but that doesn't mean it's helping you out
Correct.
completely.
We are not in the phase. We are not in the generation where we are comfortable with whatever it is. We are
Yeah.
in the trial and error basis,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So, but see, if I keep a plant right in front of you, you will be so happy just by looking at it, right?
Crazy, you know?
That effect is there. So I'm always like that. I always pay very close attention to my body, how I react to things, and yeah, that's what I feel.
So you took a year break and then you studied law.
Yes.
So that year break and then the decision to study law, that happened after that conversation with your dad?
No, like I told you, the conversation happened after I completed my studies.
So what made you study law? What made you take up the double degree?
My mom was someone who pushed me into it
Mm.
because she saw me that I'm so scattered and I was trying to find this journalism thing and it wasn't very concrete. So she said, listen, take up law. You can always use it in your journalism otherwise as well, because having a law degree is always good for you. So I said, okay, I'll listen to her. I did law, and then
Where did you study law?
A BMS Law College.
Here,
Right.
Bangalore. Yeah,
very
Okay.
close to Bull Temple.
Mm.
And the education there was good. The teachers were amazing. But what got me more interested into it is I saw, unfortunately, the kind of crowd that takes up law are people who are actually not going to become advocates.
Then what do they want to do?
So they either become politicians or they do it, or they're mostly CAs, trying to get that extra buck. They
Why?
complete, because if you have an additional law degree, I think you have an increment towards your pay.
Okay.
Chartered accountants.
I didn't know
So
that.
half my class were chartered accountants, few were politicians, few just came to just understand law and see if that's what they really want
But
to
the
do.
final destination wasn't really practicing it. You're
Yes.
saying, okay.
And then that surprised me. I said, okay, I don't want to be like these
But
people.
that was in your college, or you think generally that's what the scene is?
Except NSLU, because that's where people who really want to be advocates go to. But except that college, otherwise people take up law to just test waters and see where else they can apply other than being an advocate.
Got it. So then your mom got you into it, and then you obviously studied it, and through that as well, I'm sure you would have kept thinking about journalism, like at some point,
No.
maybe.
That's
So
what
you
I
dropped
told
it.
you. Yeah, I was told you, I was subconsciously living through those years.
Yeah, you just did it.
I just did it because, see, I was 23 when I took up
Mm.
this law
Law.
degree.
Mm.
So I was well aware that I would be 26, very
20
close to 27.
By the time you finished, yeah.
Yes, and I didn't like the sound of it.
Yeah. And you're like, this might just decide
Yes.
what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, I pretty much wanted
But you
to be
didn't want to
settled.
accept it.
I
You didn't
pretty
wanna
much
accept
wanted
it.
to be settled by 27. I didn't want to start something at 27. So that kind of scared me a bit. And I somehow, like I told you, subconsciously lived
Yeah.
through those years. And then when I completed a year, I was working with my dad. I am still working alongside my dad. And now I'm starting to be a freelancer and an independent advocate of my own, because I'm getting clients through Instagram. Not that I publicize or anything. People like the way I preach and I teach, and they are they're very insisting on giving me the cases. So I don't use social media platform to get clients, but they get quite impressed with the
Yeah.
way I speak, because the most important thing about an advocate is command over the language English or whatever regional languages that you're going to argue in. And for me, somewhere I'm very much confident in that. I see people coming forward for that, and also given the fact that I'm a 3G.
Tell me a little about your father. Seems like a inspirational man.
Okay, my
Seems
father,
like quite a strong personality. So
very strong personality.
if you can speak a little about your dad, that will be nice.
He has a very strong personality. He's not scared of anything. He always says ek maar do tukda. He's always that type. He always takes people by with the force, face to face, right in front. He's not scared of anyone, and he's a people's person. Okay, that's something that I think I got from him. I quite look similar to him as well.
Okay.
That's what people tell me.
Hmm.
Then about him, he is very considerate. In the beginning, he likes to talk to children, and he loves reading books. He likes reading about saints.
Saints. Okay.
Yes. So be it Mother Teresa, or there are a lot of saints in Christianity. So he was a Hindu, but he has found some sort of liking towards both Hinduism and Christianity.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
he balances both.
That's nice. That's very interesting. I always enjoy when people are born into a certain faith,
Okay.
and then without disrespecting the faith that you're
Yes.
born into,
Yes.
you have the ability to explore another faith.
Right.
I think the people who have the courage to do that, I think, have a very open mind,
Yeah.
because to explore religion takes a lot of courage.
Absolutely. It's something
Yeah.
you have to accept now, because you are so much involved in some religion. For you to accept that there's something other than that as well, you need that sort of, open-mindedness, like you said.
So does he have does he deal with criminal cases?
He's stayed away from it as
Okay.
much as he can, but of course, as an advocate, you'll have to take everything that comes your way.
Mm-hmm.
He's more towards civil, property
Okay.
matters, and anything in terms of any issue in an institution. He's not much into criminal.
And does he have a bodyguard?
He doesn't need one.
He doesn't need one.
He can just open his mouth and people will just stay away.
That's nice. That's nice, because a lot of that's what you spoke so much about family influence, and I feel sometimes it's great to have such influence, because a lot of your work is already done.
Right.
A lot of the inspiration is already fed to you, consciously or subconsciously.
Yes.
Is already fed to you, that now you're ready to take on the world. And what I appreciate about journeys like yours, right? People usually tend to, like, if there's someone in the family who's already succeeding in a certain profession, and then the next gen has come into the same profession, and say, there's this stereotype that, okay, you're going to have it easy for yourself, because
Right. Yes.
your family is already into this, and then you don't deserve whatever
Right.
you're going to get, because it's not yours. But this is how I see it, right? Your family can do whatever they want and as much as possible, but unless you put in your own effort, that journey can't continue, that journey can't grow. Like, as simple as your Instagram profile is your contribution towards ensuring that all the experience that your family has gathered takes another branch of its own.
Correct.
And if you're able to create that branch, that's awesome. Then people can't point fingers at you that this has all been easy for you, because
Right.
you're trying to build something of your own.
Right.
And whatever you have is well deserved, because the family is invested into it. And who else benefits out of it, right? So I don't know. I don't know how people look down on things like that. But anyway, another point that you brought up, which I wanted to kind of speak about, you said you were shy, and then you became this person who's more bold in front of the camera. How was that transition for you? Because you mentioned it like it's nothing, but many people struggle with it. Like, many girls struggle with the fact that, oh, you know what, I feel like I'm a shy person, I'm introverted. For me to go out there and boldly state my point is hard. How did that transition happen for you?
So I was only shy in front of the camera, very
Okay.
conscious, because
Okay.
I always like to have a conversation back at me, and just talking to something that I'm not going to have a conversation with was very difficult. But I started initially before I could start Instagram, I did this 30-day challenge where every day I would just wake up, not put in any camera, not any formal clothes. I would just start the camera, I would just record whatever I'm saying, and for a minute, and I would just keep it. And then I started seeing a lot of progress in just that 1 month with different kinds of videos. And I thought, okay, now is the time. And I had this MI phone. My father wouldn't help us in anything. Even though they say of course, all advocates are very rich, and of course, but you only get rich when you get up to the 40 or 50-year-old mark, Adarsh, unfortunately. Yes. You don't earn as much as money you earn then right now. But my father never helped me, and also I was never into asking money. Like if they would buy and give me, I wouldn't say no.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't walk up to them and say, okay, I want this or something. So I had a very bad phone camera, and I tried to use that initially, and the phone was hanging also most of the time. Managed to somehow just edit videos and put that up. That struggle made me understand that you cannot be shy anymore, because now you're going to invest into an iPhone. So I got a 1 lakh phone. I'm not happy with having 1 lakh in my hand.
But it's required.
It's required, because I didn't want to invest on something. The editing apps and everything come out very well in iPhone. So I bought that, and I said there's no turning back now. You need to recover this amount somehow. And then I started off, and then when my friends came up to me and said, you know what, my friend just randomly showed a video of you, and they were like, oh, this girl posts nice content. And I was quite surprised that, without even me bringing up the topic, if they are coming forward and bringing it up, that always makes me happy. And I said, okay, and that's where this Legally Fit campaign came into picture. I wanted to make a difference,
so we'll just talk about the Legally Fit shortly.
Okay.
I want to talk about the Instagram success that you had.
Okay.
Right? And when did it really blow up?
That one reel, Adarsh, like I told you, company bonds are illegal. So that got me a lot of massive exposure, because no one knew that it was illegal, and it kind of brought in some sort of a relief to everyone who wanted to shift from a company. But then unfortunately, there are a little bit of loopholes that companies take advantage of, which I would not like to tell here, because there's a lot more to it. So I don't want anyone to perceive it in a different way. But hoping to bring more awareness to it, so that, a bill is at least being passed against it, because companies have a really upper hand in the economy of India. So I don't know if the Indian government would actually do anything about it, but at least if people are aware, they can demand for it, right? More than the country doing it for them.
So ideally, nobody can ask you to sign a contract.
Yes.
Saying you have to work in a certain company for so and so period, and that's something that doesn't stand
like
legal.
Bonded labor.
Yeah, you cannot do that.
You cannot do that.
Yeah, and I know you don't want to dwell too much into it, but I just want to add this, right? The problem is most people don't know in college. Like when you're sitting for these placements, like even your teachers are telling you that, listen, this is what it is, and then the students are like, okay, that is what it is, and everyone's just accepting it without questioning it.
Yes.
Right. So that video made a lot of noise for you.
Right.
So before that video, what did your Instagram look like? How many followers did you have? And then after that, how did it climb from there?
So I got about 50k followers.
Because of that?
Yeah, because of that, and 2 more videos after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so your phone was just blowing up.
My phone was blowing up.
So what went through you at that point?
I was quite happy. I was quite prepared, because that was something that took me quite a lot of time to research about. It's not that I just woke up and I just picked up the book.
You just spoke something.
Yeah. I wanted groundbreaking topics as this. And I saw that and I put that up. But the execution wasn't as much as I wanted it to be. It was very plain. But now I've quite got very creative with how I put up my videos. But I was quite impressed that, I could create some sort of mass destruction in the companies, I'm pretty sure there'll be like managers watching it. I'm like, oh my God, this is out.
Who is this girl?
Who is this girl? Why is she saying these things? I was quite scared that, I might get few replies from companies saying that this is not what you're supposed to be doing.
You got anything?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No,
But did people, like, how many people message you saying thank you for this? Like,
so many. And then they just didn't say thank you. They're like, no, what about notice period? Let's get there. And again, but notice period it's compulsory. You can't avoid that.
Mhm.
So they were like, okay, what about notice period? What about paid leaves? So they were more curious about it. Then one by one, I started uploading videos based on company law, and that is something a lot of people are still interested in, So I try to do a lot of laws related to company. Recently I put up a law related to resignation, what all you need to keep in mind if a company decides to send you home, and things like that.
What are they? Oh, you have already put up a video?
Yeah, I've already put up a
Okay,
video.
that's great. So this jump in Instagram happened. So now you know that you're on to something, that
Yes.
this is actually working for
Yes.
you. Now let's talk a little about this, right? And then we'll jump into your Legally Fit campaign. I know you're not doing it for the clients,
Yes.
but it's going to help you. All this mass following that you are having at one point can become your source of getting work. Is that something that is on your mind?
No. See, in terms of getting clients, we can't advertise, and
Okay.
I've strongly followed the protocols
Yeah.
of the disciplinary
Mhm.
committee, so
Mhm.
I don't put any advertisement.
Mhm.
But in terms of contacts, yes, I have managed to get in contact with advocates from Supreme Court, from Chennai High Court, Madras High Court. So I'm very much happy about the contacts that I'm making.
Due to the content.
Yes, due to the content, there are other advocates coming forward and replying and stating that I'm very happy to see your profile, and they're also quite encouraging. So it's the contact.
That's coming out of
Contacts
this
others.
more
Yes,
than anything
that's
else.
what I'm looking at, because clients, trust me, everyone has a problem. Everyone needs an advocate. It's very easy to get
Client
clients
you can
today.
get, yeah.
Yeah. Instead, I feel like we need to start saying no to clients, because it's just increasing. The numbers are just increasing.
Perfect. Okay, let's speak about Legally Fit campaign. What is the Legally Fit campaign? So Joshiba is on this journey of changing her name on
Yes.
Instagram from
Joshiba
Dev to Legally Fit.
Legally Fit Joshiba.
Legally Fit Joshiba. So please enlighten us about what Legally Fit campaign is.
Okay, so this is not known to many, but when I was doing my degree in commerce, in Mount Carmel College, I used to be a fitness athlete.
Oh, nice.
So I used to work out a lot. I took part in a lot of fitness competitions, and I won 3 competitions in a year, hat trick.
Wow.
I was very impressed about myself with that as well. It was my friend who pushed me into this, because he told me I was genetically blessed with good genes, and I didn't have to work out much in order to get a kind of physique that I had to for the competition. He pushed me. We did a 3-month preparation, and I won 3 competitions, one after the other, in 1 year. And that's where I got this term legally fit. The fit comes from the
Yeah.
athletic side of me. I wasn't always athletic. This just happened in that 1.5 year span of time. And I just combined 2 personalities of mine, because when people look at me, they know for a fact I'm very health conscious, consciously and subconsciously, because if you give me a chocolate cake, I have a specific time where I should eat it.
Wow.
Yeah, because I follow like I told you, I listen to my body a lot, so I know my stomach functions perfectly well at 2 to 3, and that's where I can digest that much of glucose, and I will only have my chocolate cake at 2 and 3.
Oh.
And
so your birthday cake also. You have to
Looks
everyone
like
everyone
it.
waits for 2 p.m. Okay, now it's
Yes.
time.
So birthday cakes are quite small these days, because my friends know I just end up wasting the whole lot.
Wow.
And I eat my dinner even by 6:30.
You're done.
Yes, I'm done. And that's quite helped me with my, busy schedule, because I have from 6 to almost 10, I have that much of time that I can do something. I don't have to be distracted with food
You
or
don't have
anything
to think
else.
about any
Yes.
meal or anything. Like
Yes.
just you're done with the.
I feel my days ended at 6:30, and now from 6:30 to 10, whatever I have is my free time. So coming back to this word called legally fit, that's where it came to my mind, and I always used to, pump my fist, my arms like this, saying, follow your advocate Joshiba to be legally fit.
I've seen that.
That was my sign out call to action dialogue. And it was like I told you, it's all meant to be.
It's meant to be.
It's
You
meant
feel
to
in
be.
one with it.
Yes, because when I always connect the dots back, I see that, it somehow it had to be, and I'm making it work, Adarsh, because like I told you, I don't want to live the stressful life of my dad. Now, how do I make it work for something that suits me? So I added journalism to advocacy, and I started putting up videos. Now, I wanted to go out there and start interviewing people, so I started the Legally Fit campaign.
Oh yeah, tell me about that. How's the whole going on the streets and interviewing people thing going? So you're there. Like I saw this video. I forgot which video this is, but you're wearing this red blazer.
Yes.
So you're actually like decked up. You've put in efforts to like get ready to go there. And then you have like a mic in your hand. What are you asking people, and how are their responses? Because I've had my own share of 1 or 2 times going out on the streets and doing these street interviews, and it's not easy. It's not easy. First of all, they're like, okay, why are you approaching me?
Yeah.
Like you'll rarely find someone who's like very happy of the fact that you're trying something new. So how's that journey been of doing all these street interviews?
Firstly, let me talk on behalf of all the Church Street people. They literally feel harassed. They feel harassed. They are like, I don't want to go to that street, man. They're like,
Someone will
20 to 25 influencers out there
waiting with a mic.
Waiting to pounce on us. At least I had a mic. Other influencers so camouflaged that they're wondering, okay, where to avoid, who to avoid.
Yeah.
So they're starting to feel harassed, and that's the vibe I got actually on my first time.
Okay. Like, why are you harassing me, boss? Leave me alone.
Yeah. And then I'm trying to not go there because I don't want to be, I don't want people to feel like you can also understand them because they've just come to have some kind of a lunch or brunch, and then they'll have to give interviews.
In front of a camera.
They'll have to give interviews. There are people clicking them. They just feel like it's too much for them. Boss, can I just walk by myself without
giving an interview?
I wouldn't have given this many interviews while I was applying a job. Now I need to give this many interviews to go to a destination to eat some lunch.
Church Street especially.
Church Street especially.
Yeah. But it's effort. It's real effort.
Yes. So that's what I felt. But as soon as I said about this Legally Fit campaign, people wanted to, be part of it. And they were like these 2 girls. That was my first video. I liked how they saw me doing something and they approached me and how jovial they were in that video. I was just taken aback, and I wanted that to be my first video because someone coming to you and wanting to be part of your success, of your campaign, I felt very special.
Yeah, you know what you should do? You should put up a background, like a standee of sorts, anything, which should say, are you legally fit? Do you have a minute? Something like, even before approaching, like you should have like a message. You should have something behind you.
Will that work?
Yeah, and I'm telling you, right? So when I wanted to do street interviews, and I still want to do it, but not so like heavily populated, like you said. And I'm like, no, I'll get them here and I'll interview. But when I wanted to do that, my next idea was this: put up like a background, put up a banner with like your first message. Your banner should be your first communication. Even before you approach them, they've already seen something. So they have an idea about what this can be about. Or else it takes them a good 30 to 45 seconds to understand why you're speaking to them. And and I feel like a nice banner with like very few words, maybe 2 sentences, you'll actually draw people. They'll be like, okay, what's actually going on here? Because if that interests them.
No, I was taken aback when you said this banner. On my first time when I went to
You put up a banner?
No, I didn't put up a banner. I saw a banner and it said, do you want pizza or do you want to get raped?
Oh shit, I saw this recently.
Yeah,
I was like, I saw this guy last week, a few days ago.
Okay.
It says, do you want pizza? What is it?
Do you
want to get raped?
Or do you want to get raped?
Or do you support rape? Something like this. And I'm like, I'm getting out of here.
Yes,
Yeah, but that's too aggressive, I feel. I mean, I don't know if you're watching the guy who's put this up, or if you know the guy who's put this up, let us know who he
Yeah,
is.
do you want pizza or do you want to get raped or something
Yeah,
like that?
I was very. But yeah, I think you should try a banner. Anyway,
What do you think it should state?
I think it should be. So one option is, do you think you're legally fit?
Okay.
Second is, uh, give me 60 seconds of your time, uh, and I'll teach you something new about the law.
Okay.
Or yeah, something on these lines.
Okay.
And it should mention like a time limit, like give me 60 seconds, give me
60
30 seconds, and it should show that they'll benefit something from it. And I feel like people will, like, they'll start lining up.
Okay.
And I really
I'll
believe
take
this.
that.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
So
for
my idea was, like, I wanted to like pick up different topics. So I want to have 2-3 chairs. I put up, like I say, topic of the day.
Okay.
Breakup. Topic of the day, marriage.
Oh.
Topic of the day, dream job. And then put this up and I just sit there. You want to talk about it? Come sit.
You had a chair as well.
I
is it?
wanted to.
You wanted to.
I don't know, I might end up doing that. Like, put like 2-3 chairs. And you see, right, people across Church Street are like, some are sitting, like, there are bands, a whole band will go there and sit and they start playing.
Okay.
And it's all there. So that was my idea.
That's
but
like more of a European culture that's coming into us, right? Or
Maybe.
you think it's just.
it can work. I feel like it can work. Anyway, so let's get into the second part of the episode where we want to kind of bring in a few topics that you can learn about. We already spoke about how you don't really need to sign a contract with your company, and you can explore more about that. The second thing we want to speak about is free aid. Free legal aid. When you get arrested, you can get arrested or accused. You can get free legal aid. Yeah. Can you tell us more about that?
It goes by the Article 32 of the Constitution, where the country promotes equality, and also equality in terms of getting free legal services as well. It's just because if you are financially sound doesn't mean you need free legal aid, and person who's not financially sound doesn't have to fight for his justice. So be it a victim or the accused, even if you're a murderer, if you're not financially sound, you can go and approach the court for free legal aid. There is a cell in every court. There is a small cell. It's not that government has not invested that much, unfortunately, into free legal aid. But there is a small cell where you can go, choose the best advocate, and advocates are good because they work for the government. They get a standard salary pay. They will fight the case for you.
Okay. So
And that's something that not many are aware of.
okay, perfect. So that's the first thing. The second thing we wanted to speak about was.
You can ask for right to be silent until and unless your advocate comes to help you out with whatever that you've been caught with the cops. You can choose to, and I always advise you to be silent, because the cops can provoke you into saying certain things, because they just want you to say few words and then they'll just lathi charge you, and then they'll frame you against it. So you have to be very conscious of how you speak and what you speak, especially amongst cops or the advocates, because every word will be scrutinized.
So you do have the right to remain silent, like
You
they
do
say in the
have
movies.
the right to remain silent and call and ask for a legal aid. For example, call for an advocate, basically.
And until that happens, you're not answerable to anyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't need to speak out. Your advocate can speak on behalf of you.
Perfect. What about these traffic violations, smoking violations on the road? Say, the group of people smoking on the road. How does that work? Are you supposed to pay them up immediately? Or
It is an offense, especially if you're in the premises of an education institution or hospital. It is an offense, but I don't think that is seriously taken into our society, isn't it? But in front of the schools, I think people themselves respectfully don't do it, at least in front of children or in the hospitals as well. But I don't think you can even smoke while driving your car. That's also not permitted. Yeah, that's a public space, right? Your car becomes a public space.
But everyone's smoking in every car.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm yet to do a little bit more research on that.
Okay.
Because there's no law says that no smoking while in the car. Now we need to figure out if car is a public space or a private space. So how do we go about it? Your car is a private space if it is inside the compound walls of your own building. But if it goes onto the streets or onto the highway,
It's
it
still
becomes a public space.
Public space.
So you cannot indulge in any sort of intimacy, you cannot drink inside your car, all these things. So your car is a public space if it is outside your compound wall. Even in the outskirts, it's still a public space.
You brought up one very nice point. Public display of affection
Okay.
for couples. I think this is like a huge problem. Like when you're walking in Lal Bagh, or when you're in a cafe, when you're sitting with your partner, and then any form of affection is scrutinized, and cops have lathi charged lot of people.
Yes.
Yeah, can we speak about that? What
It's
is
a
allowed, what is
crime.
not allowed?
Unfortunately, it's looked as a big crime. Public PDA, which is public display of affection, is again, there is no specific law. So there is no law that says that no kissing in public, Adarsh. Okay?
Start kissing in public.
But
Okay, there's a but. Wait.
yeah, there is a but. So obscene acts, there is something called as obscene act. Okay, now it depends on, some people may not find kissing obscene, some people may, but the society in general finds it obscene. So people are they are put into this law segment of obscene act, and they are being charged against it. Again, like I told you, there is no law says no kissing in public, section this. There's nothing as such. No holding hands in public, section this. It all comes under the obscene act, and cops take advantage of this because it's very ambiguity. There's no defined process or defined law towards it. So cops usually file people under this section, and they say they'll put you in 3 months jail, and people have gone to jail for 3 months.
Can you fight that case? I mean, like, not you, not you.
Okay.
But I'm saying, can a person who's accused like that fight this case?
The funny thing is, if it goes to the court, the judge himself says that what is this, and then they just let the person get released. Because there are much more important matters out there
Yeah, than like people kissing in public.
than people kissing in public. But the cops take it very seriously. I think it's to probably make a quick buck or to bring in some sort of societal order. I think it's more of societal order because, like I always believe we need to be monitored. Otherwise, we can go out of hand.
Done. Yeah, another thing I wanted to bring up, when you get into, say, an accident on the streets, and you, like the person who's caused the mistake, there have been multiple occasions where the public takes it in its own hand and starts to beat up this person who's caused the mistake. How do you get out of that? And how are you compensated for this by the government? Can you file a case, and against whom can you file a case? Because I've seen this not just with cities, especially with villages.
Correct.
Right? You get into this argument and the village beats you up. What does a person do then?
I always advise anyone, first, if you have caused an accident, move out from that space firstly, at least 500 meters away from that space, and go and you yourself go and hand over your just go to the cops and surrender yourself, because you can at least avoid this some sort of attack towards you from the villager side. Because I've only seen this in the village side. For example, if I'm going on the way to Mysore and there is a small accident, you run over a chicken or something as such, people will just gang you up.
Yeah.
And they'll damage your car also. So in order to save yourself and your car or your vehicle, move a bit further down and then halt your vehicle, and then the cops will come to you, or you go and surrender yourself to the cop.
Okay.
This is not written anywhere, but I suggest this because you can save your own vehicle from damage and yourself from getting beaten up.
Okay. Okay. The next thing I wanted to speak about, say you're arrested in the middle of a night for whatever reason, whether it's your fault or not. What are the cops allowed to do? Are, can they take you uh, to the police station immediately? How does it work? I mean, what is allowed and what is not allowed? If the cop decides to arrest you in the middle of a night, is that fine? Is that not fine?
So women cannot be arrested after sunset and before sunrise. So that is a privilege for women. But men, you need a warrant. There has to be a warrant from a court telling that they have come to arrest you. And once they come and arrest you, they take you to the jail, and you'll have to be produced before the magistrate court within 24 hours. They cannot keep you in jail for a week, for 2 weeks without producing you in front of the magistrate court. That is the protocol. So if you are not being produced in front of the magistrate court, get an advocate, demand that you should be produced in the magistrate court.
But can they take you to the police station without a warrant?
No,
So you're not allowed to be taken to the police station without a warrant?
without a warrant. But there are some, offenses such as dowry, where you don't need a warrant, because dowry, initially to curb the dowry cases, there was something that the person, the husband, can get immediately arrested, and he had to apply for something called as anticipatory bail, where he is anticipating his arrest. So in order to avoid being arrested immediately, you pay for the anticipatory bail, and then when the police comes, you can tell them that you've already applied for that and they have no rights to arrest you.
Perfect. So the next one is a little more interesting. You were talking about how a partner is cheating on the other, and what is allowed and what is not allowed.
Yes.
So if you would speak about that a little.
Do we take the imaginary example?
Yeah, please. We are going to take my own example of my imaginary wife, wherever you are. This is for you.
Who shape shifts different features and personalities every day.
Yeah. So this is about my imaginary wife.
Right.
Okay.
So stating that Adarsh has an imaginary wife, and the imaginary wife ends up cheating on him. Even in that fourth dimension, you're not spared, Adarsh.
Yeah, I'm not spared.
So Adarsh, on the other hand, cannot go and ask for the details of the person his wife has been cheating on. And the person who's been sleeping around with Adarsh's imaginary wife has the right to not even answer to any of his questions, has a right to keep his privacy, and has a right to remain silent.
Do I have the right to ask my imaginary wife about the details of this man?
To an extent only.
What is this to an extent?
You can...
Like an address?
Like an address to go punch his
Yeah.
face.
Can I?
You can't go and show up in his house, you know
I
that,
can't.
right? No, you
Okay.
can't. Because he is going to, frame you into like prohibition.
But isn't he committing a crime?
So he is committing a crime. So how you can deal with this is in form of adultery. Now there was a huge, bandwagon going that adultery is no longer an offense. But what people, forgot to emphasize on it is adultery is no longer a criminal offense. So you have civil side and you have a criminal side, right? Initially, adultery was a criminal offense. Criminal in the sense you can be jailed, you will go to jail, you can be charged
If you cheat on your partner.
Yes, an
Yeah.
FIR can be filed against you. But the court ruled it out. But it has retained adultery as a civil offense and as a base for divorce.
Okay. So it's not a criminal offense.
It's not a criminal offense, but it is still punishable.
Okay. Punishable in what sense? I mean...
In the form of, you can ask for a divorce.
Mm.
Since your partner has cheated on you, you can ask for some kind of compensation after divorce. And if your partner has cheated on you, a divorce process also becomes quite easy.
Yeah, it's also different in terms of who benefits out of that divorce, right?
Like you cannot reconcile a marriage after that, right? It's very difficult. some people cannot come to terms with it.
So let's talk about this, right? So this is also taking me into the place of stalking today. So stalking is a huge thing today, right? Like there are ways, at least I've heard, there are apps where you can install into your partner's phone to stalk, say, location. Am I allowed to do that without that person's consent?
No.
I mean, I'm not, right?
You're
it's
not.
it's
You
not
cannot.
allowed.
You cannot even record. See, you can record the conversation. Again, coming to call recordings,
Yeah.
a huge thing that people
Yeah.
want to get clarified about. Any recording where the conversation involves you and another person, it can be recorded. For example, Adarsh and Adarsh's imaginary wife. The
This
conversation.
imaginary wife I don't like already. Already
She's
cheated on me. Now she's recording
now
my
she's
conversation.
recording your conversations. So you can record the conversations between you and your imaginary wife.
Okay.
But you cannot record the conversation between imaginary wife and her friends, your imaginary wife and the person
Okay.
who she's planning to cheat on with
Okay.
you.
Yeah, I'm
Things
not
like
allowed.
that.
Only
Yeah.
between me and her.
If
But
you are involved in the conversation, you can record.
without her consent? Without her knowing?
Consent, yes.
Yeah? And that stands as evidence in court?
That can be used as evidence.
Then you can be then
Yes.
you can be recorded all the time.
You can be recorded all the time, but even Apple has its own security and privacy laws, right? You cannot
Okay.
call record on Apple. I mean
Yeah.
iPhones.
Yeah.
You can't call record on iPhones.
Now, this is another thing. So if I'm having a conversation with a person on the phone and I record it, am I allowed to use that in court as well?
Yes. You should be involved in the conversation.
Okay.
You can use that. If you're not involved, it becomes in a violation of other person's privacy, and the other person can sue you instead of you suing
Okay.
the other person.
What is the level of importance given to WhatsApp conversations in court? Because the problem I see with this is I can very easily manipulate what is being say I have my phone and I have another person's phone. I can myself use this person's phone and send certain messages, and then I can reply to it and I can use that as evidence. Right? How do you work around that? What is the way around WhatsApp conversations and evidence?
Okay. So when you talk about evidence, you have primary evidence and secondary evidence. WhatsApp falls under the secondary evidence category. For the court to validate your proof, they will take your phone itself. You can't just take a printout of the screenshots and then submit it to the court. No, they will take your phone, they will scrutinize it, they will go through the conversations themselves and then decide if it should be taken as a proof or not.
Okay.
So WhatsApp conversations are cannot alone win you the case.
Win you something.
Yeah, it can be considered as a secondary evidence. And also there's recently it's playing a huge role in divorce cases these days, where surprisingly the husbands or the wife link the phone to a laptop. And start monitoring you without your knowledge.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, there was a client of mine she had a beautiful marriage going on, but somewhere down the line you do a little bit of stupidity takes over you, and then you end up just sweet talking with another guy or plan to meet another person. You may not want it to be serious, or you're just trying to test waters and see, but you're still very loyal towards your husband and towards the marriage that you are in. Husband happened to see this conversation, and then the whole marriage took a ugly side. They were both very much in love, and very sad to see that because of a small incident and something that she wasn't even very serious about, she just wanted to go and meet a different person, and she ended up saying stupid things. Humans do make mistakes, I feel. She may not have meant it, because as far as I've seen the conversation that I've had with her, she was really not interested in doing anything with this person. I didn't just meet and see what it is about. Just curious.
So what happened after that then?
They got the divorce. His husband couldn't reconcile, couldn't come to a fact that the wife could do something as such. because that marriage was really good and he couldn't believe it.
So you must be seeing a lot of these divorce cases, and the fights are due to WhatsApp conversations.
WhatsApp conversations or Bumble. There are a lot of profiles where either the wife has a profile on the Bumble or the husband has, and it kind of people have come to acknowledge the fact that you are in the process of being cheated someday or the other.
Yeah.
I think we should
Sooner or
accept.
later.
We should accept, because even if I'm planning to get married, I'm not going to expect my husband
to be 100%.
100%.
Yeah, it's
because
not gonna happen.
It's not, because
Yeah.
it's so easily
Yeah,
available there. So I feel we have to come down to an acceptance level, stating that your partner is going to cheat on
Yeah.
you. You have to be ready for it.
Yeah.
It's very difficult if you do end up finding a person who is not. Then that's really a very good person, I would
It's
say.
great, but yeah, that's
It's
another thing.
difficult to control
Yeah.
yourself. The
Yeah.
curiosity just
Yeah.
builds in.
And I think it's about the options. No, this is what it's coming down to. And like you said, maybe it's just a way now to accept the fact that as a generation, we are we are in a place where you might end up cheating once in your life.
Yeah.
And if you just bring down this expectation from absolutely no cheating allowed in a marriage to saying, yeah,
There is
there
a
might
possibility.
be a possibility, but let's work it out
Yeah.
and let's go on from that, because then that way, and I think that's the reason no marriages are lasting today, because then the level of expectation is set so high, and the slightest of the mistake, like this client of yours did, is taking away the whole beauty of,
Exactly.
yeah, and it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. Also, it's very controversial, Adarsh, because as a person, you need to be dedicated, okay?
Yeah.
We are civilized. We are not animals anymore,
Yeah.
like our ancestors, where we might have multiple partners. At least we have more control over our emotions, and we have studied our emotions. There's studies based on our emotions. So I just say, if life is good, please just don't experiment with it. I
Yeah.
mean, just don't say, I want something exciting, I want something new in my life. Accept the blissful peacefulness, tranquility in it. Because at the end of the day, that's all that you're going to start missing.
Yeah, but I think everyone's moving away from that. You said we are not animals anymore.
Okay.
I think people are becoming
Becoming
animals.
Okay.
I think that having multiple partners is glamorized now.
Yes.
Glamorized,
Yes.
and to an extent where it's really getting formed is the younger age group who's being exposed to media that's glamorizing having multiple partners and showcasing that it's okay. And I feel like that's where this is only going to get worse.
And also dictionary terms where threesome, we have a
Yeah,
threesome word,
yeah,
foursome word.
yeah.
I feel the society shouldn't have given a name for such
Yeah.
things, because it's just going to make it easily more understandable for the other
Yeah.
person. And I don't know, but I think consciously we don't want it. But surprisingness, the surprising factor that
Yeah.
comes along with it, people want to explore. I hate this
Yeah,
word,
explore,
explore.
yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Explore is only going to bring more confusion,
More pain.
more pain.
Yeah. Okay, so stepping into another, mostly one of the last topics we are stepping into in terms of awareness level is the possession of marijuana and the usage of it. So let's see if we can get some thoughts on that.
All right. It is a huge offense. It is equivalent to murder in our Indian society.
Okay.
And there is a reason why they stress a lot on it, because they don't want the youth of the country to lose track, right? Because if they're going to legalize it, then people are just going to go haywire. So I'm very happy about the fact that it is equivalent to murder. The laws that come along with it, the punishment that comes along with it is looked at like an murder case itself. So possessing marijuana, ganja is illegal. So you have different forms of punishment. If you have say 100 grams of it, you are punished for a certain number of years. If you have more than a half kg, certain number of years, more than 1 kg, certain number of years. So as far as I would say, see, just be cautious because it is out there already. Now, I'm not going to promote marijuana, but if that's something that you're already addicted to, start working on not being addicted to it.
Yeah.
And during the process of addiction, be not getting addicted to it. During the process of withdrawal, you will still have to be smoking it, right? Be very careful. Do not go into the streets with it in your pocket or in your car. Just be very careful of it, because if you are caught with it, it is going to be a very ugly scene for you and your parents, because the cops are not going to let you go home. They'll let you stay in the jail. And I don't know about the back end work. There are some people who come out as well. I would not like to speak about that, but it's going to be a very ugly scene for you and your family, and the cops are always going to keep monitoring you after that, because now you become the prime suspect. Now they know it's an addiction. You're not going to let go of it just today. You might smoke
again
in another a week.
So what is a cop allowed to do to you on possession?
You can get arrested. You will be
immediately
you will be seated in jail,
irrespective of how much amount you have.
Yes.
So you can be put behind bars even if you have the smallest amount in your pocket.
Even if you have seeds, or you just smoked a small joint. And you can. Yes, they can arrest you, and then again you will have to be produced in front of the magistrate court. But it is.
Then can you get out on bail?
No.
Okay.
Certain offences are not bailable. So you have bailable offences and non-bailable offences. It depends on what they frame you against also. It depends if you're just, circulating it, it's a huge offence. If you're just using it, it's a lesser offence. But overall, it's an ugly scene, because you are going to go through the same process. I mean, what difference it's going to make? 8 years of jail or 10 years of jail. 2 years is not going to bring that much of relief to you. It's going to the jail itself is traumatizing.
And are advocates okay taking on these cases? Or are advocates also having this, like, hey, you know what, I don't want to take this up? Or are advocates okay with taking up?
No, it's a huge industry by itself. So I have friends who specialize in such cases.
Yeah?
Yes. So you have divorce advocates, you have advocates who take up, cases as such. It's a huge industry, because, again, I tell you, a lot of people are getting caught, and people are need of criminal advocates. You need a criminal advocate for this, because it is a criminal offense. And huge industry.
What is your favorite type of case?
Mine.
What do you specialize in, or you are more interested towards?
I'll tell you two. Something that I hate and something that I really like. Something that I hate is divorce, because I don't want to deal with people's emotion. I feel it's more like a counselor at the end of the day than being an advocate yourself, because they come and complain to you like small children. He did this, and they're quite very open, because they'll be like, she was never physically intimate with me, and I really don't want to know details as such. So I'm not comfortable in knowing emotions or learning about people's emotions. I hate divorce cases. But what I'm very much interested in these days is cyber security and cyber crime. I like those people with masks behind another screen, far away from India, trying to scam other people, and you trying to track them down. Maybe money heist, maybe also one of the reasons. It just got me more interested in this. I really like that segment of law, and I'm wanting to specialize in it.
Is this country progressing in cyber law and protecting people from cybercrime, you think?
No. We lack so much of security. We lack, our datas are being sold like, people are making money out of our data. So I have a friend of mine who has still not used GPay in her life.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Because of the fear?
Because of the fear. And then I have friends who have tapes on their laptops, on their phone cameras.
Yeah, that's huge.
And things like that. Yeah. So our security is always compromised. Because I think the government
and nobody gives like a damn about it. Yeah.
Government is not putting in money for security. See, physical security they are giving us. some amount of where you can
But
go
we're
and
living
approach
more
the
in the virtual
digital-
world than
yeah.
in the real world anyway.
So huge scope. Again, if someone's pursuing law, I advise you to take up this segment of law, cyber security.
So if I get scammed for 1 lakh today on Paytm or whatever, what is my option? What am I doing?
So it's very hard to figure out who's the scammer is. So we'll have to work with the insurance, we'll have to see the policies and privacy of the app that you are using, pull out the bank's documents and see if the banks are responsible for it.
So basically you've lost your money.
No,
Like,
not really. Like I told you, there's a 50-50 chance. Depends on how you lost the money, how quick you were in response of raising a complaint with your bank. If it's within 24 hours or 3 days, it's the bank's duty to sit and do something about it more than you actually.
One last topic, and this came up the other day, and this is something that I don't know, I didn't get too much clarity on, and I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
The concept of marital rape, right? I'm still not clear of the fact that how does it stand in court and how do you prove it, and how's the law responding to this notion of marital rape?
Law is very clear. There's nothing sort of marital rape. People have brought that word out because see, there are two reasons why you get married, right? One is for sex, one is to have a family of your own. Now, if it is going to be an issue where you always need to keep asking this person for consent, that does not become a marriage. See, marriage is something that, where you become one. Two people become one. And having to ask permission all the time for something that should come very natural into a marriage is not accepted in law. Only in these terms. See, they still respect the woman's privacy and her consent in it. But they are more emphasizing on it, saying that you're married. He's your husband. If he is not intimate with you, who else should be intimate with you? Right?
But I think a large part of this conversation is the people who are against this is they're still saying on a certain day, if one of them is saying no, it should be respected. And then that line is being crossed, and I think that's where the debate lies. Like on a certain day when a certain person, even if your marriage says no to sex, that should be respected. But the problem is maybe it's not being respected, and that's where the term marital rape was born.
Okay.
And I don't know if we are walking on that thin line, if people are able to figure it out, and you can't even prove it. How do you prove it?
Yeah, good that you brought out that word proof. Now see, if they legalize marital rape, every other woman every other day is going to say, I got raped by my husband.
If she wants to get back at him for something.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in order to avoid, see, there are very small segments where people are going through this offense. Very small segments. See, out of 100%, I would say maybe 20% of marriages where husbands force themselves upon the wife. Because rape is only when a man tries to have a physical intimacy with a woman. That's how rape is being defined.
Oh, is it?
Woman trying to force herself on a man is not called as rape.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
By
there's
the
no
books?
word. There's no word for it.
What the hell? Are you serious?
Yes, there's no word for it. Rape clearly states a man. It's clearly said that a man with consent under the influence of fear, without consent, forces himself upon a woman.
So if it happens the other way around, then what does the man do?
It's not called as rape. It can be called as manhandling or invasion of privacy. Yes.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because see, if
I really thought rape works both ways.
No, not in the Indian legal system.
Oof.
So because the word rape is defined as such, where a man, it's clearly said that a man forces himself upon a woman without consent, even with consent under the influence of fear. For example, if I have a knife against your throat and I forced you into sex, you might have agreed. you agreeing for it doesn't make it a consent.
Yeah, because it's still under the influence of fear.
Yes.
So just going back to that whole marital rape thing. So a woman can't. So right as of today, a woman can't go file a case
Because
saying I was raped in
yes,
marriage.
Yes, because then every other woman every other day is just going to wake up and
Yeah.
say, I got raped by my husband last night.
Yeah.
It's just to avoid that huge confusion. See, there has to be only one side to a particular situation. There cannot be both sides. For example, now if you say rape where a woman forces himself upon a man as well, the rapist can come out the other day and say, no, she was the one who pushed herself on me.
Yeah.
Now then who's the court going to believe?
Yeah.
So even stalking also, it only works one way. Where a man stalks a girl is known as stalking. A woman trying to stalk on a man again is invasion of privacy.
Just because it's rare.
Just because it's rare and to avoid real situations. Now the percentage of women stalking men and men stalking women is much lesser.
Yeah.
They can't compromise on a bigger picture for a
Yeah.
smaller picture, right? So you only have to protect laws where the incident happens majority.
Yeah.
You
Because you have to pick.
it has to be one-sided,
One-sided.
some ways. In some offenses, law has to be one-sided. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be what can I say, criticized for this, but naturally coming to it, a man is more of a stronger personality than a woman. Naturally, as we are born,
Yeah.
a man, I can say, has more stronger personality than a woman. Chances of woman raping a man is very less than a man raping a woman.
But it's possible.
It
It's
is
there.
possible,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that part of the society has been sacrificed for the bigger picture of it.
As a lawyer, irrespective of what your client has done, your job is to defend the client.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, as Joshiba, if your client has done wrong and you know your client has done wrong, will you defend the client or not?
If the case is very interesting, even if my client is the accused, I will take up. And the reason it becomes very interesting is because I need to start seeing the loopholes.
No, but if your
now.
client is wrong.
Yeah, that's what. If my client is the
Accused-
accused.
Okay.
If he's the accused, there are certain instances where I have worked alongside my dad because this needs a little bit of senior
Yeah.
counsel for it. And my dad has so beautifully picked up loopholes, tried to make
Yeah.
my client look innocent, or at
Yeah.
least reduce the punishment. That's what we work on.
Yeah, your job is to aim at,
Reducing
Yeah.
the punishment, not make him look innocent completely.
but at least come to a point where it's doable.
it's
Yeah.
doable, like
Yeah.
a little bit less intense on the client.
Yeah, this is the thing about law, right? Like, I you can never say law is 100% right. I think law is our best attempt at keeping peace.
Yes.
Yeah, it's our best attempt at keeping peace. It's never going to be 100% right because
Please don't expect justice.
yeah,
It is just there to maintain the balance.
yeah,
Unfortunately, I like countries like UAE where they have stringent laws. It makes life more easier, but our constitution is so beautiful, Adarsh, because let me tell you, everyone is always given a chance. Okay, in countries like UAE, I don't know more about their laws, but it's very stringent. If they see all the tick marks to what you have done, and if it suits the particular you lose immediately without even any say in it. But the Indian government even gives the accused a chance to defend himself.
yeah.
And that's what I really love about our Indian constitution, because even if you lose a case, you can still appeal for it.
Yeah, I think there are very few systems in the world that allow it.
Yeah, and that's beautiful because it's not like, say, just having the thought in your head that it is do or die makes it very much stressful, right?
Yeah.
But if just knowing the fact that you may have another chance still makes it very light on you. But again, see, the law is very clear on it, but people are just trying to find ways and means to manipulate it.
Yeah.
I will not blame the law at the end of the day. I just blame it on people who try to manipulate it. That's it.
Is there any book you would suggest to just get better with the system? Any particular book you have in mind?
I wouldn't suggest a book because the legal dictionary is very different.
Okay. Okay.
So the meanings of it will vary.
Okay.
You may it's better to not know it than rather than know it
No,
in
the
a wrong way.
Yeah.
So maybe just look up on journals or follow blogs that make it more simpler for you. I like iPleaders. It's an online blog called as
Okay.
iPleaders.
Okay.
It's written by a lot of law university graduates from top colleges. It's a beautiful blog where people can understand the word called defamation, rape, or any other law legal terms that you need more clarity on. Because please do not go and Google up defamation on Google Dictionary.
Yeah, because it might not stand true with
Yes,
the Indian law.
yes.
Yeah.
You have to always Google up words with the legal dictionary. You have a separate dictionary called as a legal dictionary.
Awesome. Thank you, Joshiba. I think this was enough of picking your brain. This was really nice, and for people who have watched till here, this is exactly what Joshiba is trying to do with her Instagram page, bringing the awareness at the base level so that your life can get slightly better. And if your imaginary wife cheats on you, you know what to do.
Yes.
But anyway, this was amazing. Thank you so much for coming here. And I think you're still at the start of your journey. It's maybe been about 2 years since you started practice working with your dad?
Yes.
Yeah, it's about 2 years.
Yes.
And I think there's a long journey ahead of you. It's going to be interesting to see where you take your Instagram page with all the following that you have now. And let's see, all the best with that.
Thank you, Adarsh. Thank you. Thanks for everyone who is seen so far. I really appreciated 1 hour, is it? 1 hour.
1.5 hours almost.
1.5 hours of conversation. Hope I kept it interesting.
Yeah, you
Managed to talk relevant topics, and thank you for bringing up issues of today's times.
Yeah.
Because I felt like even though you're not prepared for this, I felt you put yourself in everyone's shoe out there, and you spoke on behalf of so many people.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean, I've not been there, but I know for a fact that a lot of people who struggle with not knowing things. And when they find themselves in these situations, then it's a real rabbit hole. They don't know how to get out of it. So people like you are putting in efforts to help. So great. That's nice. So thank you. This was Legally Fit Joshiba on episode number 49 of On a Personal Note with Adarsh Sakare. I hope you like this one. See you on the next one. It's going to be our 50th. So please don't miss it. Thank you.